That was something very interesting.
Hi, nice to meet you. Good, how are you?
Hello.
All right, so we have another guest on the show today. My name is Grace. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Would you please introduce yourself for all the listeners?
My name is Al Smith, former All-Pro linebacker for the Houston Oilers.
Nice to meet you. So
You as
what,
well.
I think it should be all right.
Do I
What,
need to be here?
it should be okay. It should pick you up. What brings you on the show today?
What brings me on the show? Obviously, to come to say hello to you guys. Obviously, obviously we have a big week. We got a lot of great things going on with the NFL Alumni Association. We are partnering with the state of Tennessee because I'm the president of the Tennessee chapter. We're partnering with the health department for an initiative called Gear Up, a Gear Up campaign. The Gear Up campaign is basically bringing awareness and education to underserved communities throughout the state of Tennessee about COVID and flu shots, and having accessibility and be able to get those type of things and have access, not telling anybody that they need to do it or have to do it, but it's having a resource if you want to do it, just being able to have the access to it. And the numbers show that obviously this is still out there. People are still being affected. Families are being affected. Homes are being affected. Lives are being affected. Just being able to put it in a position where you can help, having town halls, listening sessions where you can go out to schools and like high schools and communities and hear what they have to say. What are their concerns? What would they like to see better throughout everything? What would they like to see better done so that the state and the health department can go back and devise that from hearing from the citizens? Because a lot of times things are put out, but people, they don't see what's really happening on the ground or how people are feeling about what's going on the ground. So now you can really hear that information and understand it and really see what they're doing and implement programs that help those, when they get that data back, they're able to help the individuals in those communities and throughout the state.
That's wonderful. How did you become involved with that?
Well, I became involved with that because of the fact that, obviously being a part of the Alumni Association, we're able to access a grant and apply for a grant. We got the grant through the health department to be able to go out and help the citizens of Tennessee, because we call it Gear Up because you just want to protect yourself. Just like when we're on the field, when we're playing, we wore helmets, shoulder pads. I mean, you don't expect to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt, but if you do get hurt, you want to minimize the blow, right? You don't see guys out there with no helmets on. They don't expect to get hurt. They don't expect to have a head injury. They don't expect to hurt a knee or hurt a shoulder or anything like that. But they have protection just in case. And if they do get hurt, it lessens the blows. The same thing with being protected, whether it be virus or what have you. If you do get sick, well, you the chances of dying or being real sick and all those things are diminished, as the numbers have shown. So you really want to give protection and give them every opportunity to be at the best that they can be.
Right, definitely.
And this is switching gears just a little bit, but we were just speaking with Dr. Rabin, and he was talking about the importance of pre-game, getting yourself in the right mindset. I was curious if before a game back in your playing days, did you have any traditions that you do before the games, or how did you get yourself locked in to play?
Well, one thing about getting locked into play, it was just more of for me, it was more of a spiritual thing, being in a routine, really being outside of myself, because to play a game of football or a physical sport like that, you have to be outside of yourself. It's not normal. It's not normal to go hit somebody or go run into a wall, basically hitting these 300-pound big linemen and tackling these big running backs. And I mean, that's not a normal activity.
Right.
So you really have to transform yourself. That's why you see a lot of times guys change into somebody else. I'm not that guy that played then or what have you, but at the same time, you had to transform yourself into something other than yourself, if you can kind of understand what I mean. And that helped me a lot.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, we see players all the time who they're off the field. They're like big, giant, like teddy bear, all smiles. And then they get on the field, they transform into someone else. Would you say that's kind of what happened to you?
Yes, I think that is pretty much the norm. And that's what has happened to me. But on the flip side of that, the sad thing is that sometimes guys can't, it's hard for them to turn it off. And then that carries off into their personal lives or or getting into fights or getting into situations at home or whatever that they aren't able to turn their dial off. And that's where the disconnect can be sometimes. And that's not the norm, so to speak. But at the same time, it does happen. But for individuals that have that problem, obviously there's help out there to try to help somebody with that. But you definitely have to recognize that is there and try to do something to help yourself.
Right. Definitely. Pivoting back to Gear Up, what's the most rewarding aspect for you in being involved in this kind of organization, this community effort?
Well, the most important thing to me is being able to give back to the community that served you so well. When you're on the field, you have people, fans that cheer for you, that come out and yell at you for you, whatever it is during the course of a game. But this is an opportunity to kind of give back to the community, to be able to keep them safe, keep them families safe, keep others safe, and be able to put themselves in a situation where they can, have a healthy life and be in a good situation. So anytime you can provide that to a community, and a community throughout the states, it could be rural areas in the city or whatever the case may be, but you're still able to really help the different individuals in that community. And that's my biggest reward, is being able to give back to the community that has served and cheered for me over the years.
Right, absolutely.
And now, since we are at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, we see a lot of red and green all over the place. I'm not going to ask you who you think is going to win the game, but who is the player that you're most excited to watch in this game on Sunday, or you think is going to have like the X factor of this game?
Well, I think obviously the X factor is, in my opinion, obviously the quarterbacks are going to be huge. There's a great significance, obviously, in this game with the quarterback situation. Obviously, you have two young quarterbacks, two young African-American quarterbacks, two quarterbacks, one in their prime, one, is trending that way into his prime. And to be able to see them be able to perform on a stage, not only do you have guys that are great talents, they're great people. You don't see them in the news with crazy stuff happening. Great role models for all kids, and really a testament of what you can be. I mean, you can be a great player, a great athlete, and still be a great role model and do great things as well. So I think the X factor is basically whichever those two quarterbacks perform the best is going to come out on top, whether it be the injury to the ankle with Mahomes or to the shoulder of Hurts. Whoever can overcome that and kind of put that to the side or subside it for that one game, I think will come out on top.
Awesome. Thank you. If any of our listeners want to get involved in the Gear Up initiative, where should they find you?
We're on www.nflagearup.org. And we have other ambassadors as well that have affiliations with the state of Tennessee. Warren Moon is one of our ambassadors. We have Javon Curse as one of our ambassadors, Brad Hopkins, Neil O'Donnell, Chris Johnson, great running back for the Tennessee Titans. Blaine Bishop is one of our ambassadors as well. And I think I said Delaney Walker, and obviously myself. So we have a lot of great guys that have affiliation or have played with the organization or have affiliation with the state of Tennessee to be able to help spread the word with the campaign.
That's wonderful that you're giving back to the community. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. It's great to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.